I'm CK. Tonight we've got a unit that's a little more complicated than other ones we've done. This is from Herbs and Stones. Herbs and Stones, it's their liquid foam groove box that's now in a eurorack format. So I wanted to put it together, see how it sounds, and see how groovy it can get. I hope you enjoyed the video. So here's the box, Herbs and Stones, out of Vittorio Veneto in Italy. I picked this up from thonk.co.uk. So let's see what's in this big old box. Not as much as we could. Little card with information on how to get in touch with them. A sticker, Esoteric Electronics, Herbs and Stones. Power cable, need that. Let's see, I'm going to dig in and get the front panel and the circuit board out first, and I've got a feeling this is a lot of surface mount already installed, and yeah, it is. Well. So, all the interesting electronic parts are already on the board. There's a lot of them. So we're just going to be putting the front panel components on. I mean the knobs and pots and so on. That's too bad. But let's see, let me get this non-recyclable bubble wrap away. Here's the front panel. X, Y, EG invert, EG, BP, LP, bandpass, low pass, I assume there. ABC, don't know what that means. VCF, we know what that means. Some other little droplet things. Pitch, wave, offset decay, EG to VCO, frequency, trigger, and width of, probably pulse width or wave width. And then there's an LFO over here. Speaking of which, they don't have a particular build guide or user manual. Build guide doesn't matter. This will be easy to figure out. Actually, I don't know if that's going to be true because there's a lot of pots in here, and I don't know if they are all the same value or not. If they're not, let me double check. I didn't see any values listed here. Yeah, there's no values listed here. First, let's dump all these pots out and see whether they are same values or not. 100K, 100K, 100K. Well, they do all appear to be 100K pots. So that will make it significantly easier to put together. In here we've got some LEDs of various colors and one pin header. I'm sure that's probably a programming connector. Actually, that may be the power connector, because I didn't see a power connector anywhere in here, and I'm trying to see where. So that looks like power, but we've got two of them. I just didn't see two of them. So the only real question we have is what color LEDs go where. And I think that's really just a matter of, if we were to do it one way, it'd be fine versus any other way. So that's it. Again, a very basic assembly job, just putting the jacks and pots and LEDs on. But that's okay. We'll put it together and see how it sounds. So let's get this show on the road. First I'm going to put all the pots on the board, because they're often the ones that cause the most jumping around when... Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to put the power header pins on first before I do anything else. And because they're splits, I'm actually going to plug the connector in to hold them in place so they're parallel to each other. Get one leg there. Now see if it's flat. It is not flat. So I will heat that leg up again, press on it with my finger, and it clicked into place. Now I can do all the other pins with this cable under my hand. That's that. Now I'll put all the pots on. Now I'm going to drop the LEDs. I have a little picture up on my board. No plus and minus, but typically with LEDs the square pad is the negative. Now all the LEDs go in the same way, so I'm going to take a look under the board and make sure all the short legs are on the right, and they are. And now the next thing will just be to set all these jacks in place. Okay, so that's all the pots and jacks on. Fortunately, they gave me an extra jack because I busted a pin on one of these. These jacks were, some of them were very hard to get through the holes in the circuit board. So now we're going to get everything lined up. And I'll worry about the, oh, I didn't even notice that. I should have noticed this. All the pots have index tabs on them, and they're going to keep the, see, this is interesting. Even with the index tabs cut off, the jacks are a little higher. I mean, the pots are a little higher than the jacks, so it's going to be interesting fitment. Hold on, I got to get another pair of pliers. My carbide jawed cutters to cut these tabs off. Okay, let's do that again. Again, the jacks are going to be slightly recessed more than I would normally like, but I'm going to do a little bit of something here. I'm going to flip this over just for a second. I'm going to solder this jack down. And then this jack at this end, I'm going to pull this back off. They will be the ones that I'm using to hold the board together. In a minute here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's, let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about here. So if you can see here, with the jack flush against the front panel, the leads, you can't put the leads any further in the holes, and that's level. You can see there's a huge gap between the jack and the front panel base. And it's even more, a little more extreme over here. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, I may have to push the jacks forward a little bit, even though I can't do that because they're in there so tightly. So I'm going to go ahead and solder all the jacks down and then come back and figure out what I'm going to do with these pots. So I think I'll do that right now. Again, I'm not real happy with the way that's coming out. So that's all the jacks. Now let me see what I can do to get some kind of amount of threads on. If they had drilled the holes enough to, on the pots, enough to get the shoulders on the pots, but they didn't. So it's just all, it's not going to be flat, and that's not my favorite thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put panel nuts on a couple of these interior jacks. To try and draw the board down a little bit. I mean the panel down to the board a little bit. Now that I've got the center 4 in, I'll go ahead and push the LEDs through and solder them down and solder all the pots down. I don't think we have any reason not to do that. Now put the rest of the panel nuts on. Okay, now we'll put the knobs on, turn everything counterclockwise first. And put the power cord back on. Where'd I put it? Make sure we've got the red stripe here for negative 12 volts. And that's it. Except for some fussing with the way the heights are different. It went together just fine. Now we'll put it in the rack or something, and we'll see how it sounds. Okay, here we go. It's in the rack. Two things to note. The front panel layout is a little bit different than what they show on their website, because that was for the standalone unit, so you just have to adapt to that. The other thing is white is input, non-white is output. So the sequence should be running now. It's not. The LFO is running, but this doesn't seem to be wanting to run. Let me plug in an external clock here and turn my sequencer on. Okay, now it's running. Now we're going to take that output and put it in A. Turn the pitch up. I'm going to turn the sequencer up a little faster. I'm going to plug an LFO into the I'm going to plug this in. Now I'm going to take the LFO into here to mix up the sequence a little bit. If I plug it in over here, I'm going to take this back out and just let it go sequentially. Gonna go faster. Gonna go to bandpass. like it better in low pass. So that's what it does. A couple of things. I'm not sure why I'm not getting a timing signal there. Let me just look at the back of the board, see if it's... Well, everything looks fine back there. Everything's soldered correctly. I mean, there's not much you can do wrong on this. As you saw, it was so easy to put together that it's not much of a issue. So I don't know why that's not putting out a time signal. Because the LFO certainly is. Again, if I driving it from the sequencer is fine. Now, as you can see, you can change the wave, you can change the pitch, all that. The LFO are... The VCF is okay. It's really attenuated there. I'm not sure why. Ooh, that sounds nice. But again, that's what it does, and again, it sounds fine. It's going to be, again, since you can bring in your own clock, you can sync it with everything else you're doing. And I'll play a little bit more with envelope generator on my own, but again, main thing I'm concerned about is why the internal timing clock is not working. Oops, and now the system just reset itself. I don't know why it did that. Probably I'm drawing too much power. So it's a good little unit. Give you, with all the abilities to plug multiple things in here as you stack pass-through cables on top, which I don't have any of. That certainly makes it more interesting. I'm going to investigate again. I'm going to investigate the timing a little bit more. Again, I don't see what could possibly have gone wrong, because there's nothing much you can do wrong except soldering pots, jacks, and LEDs on. But it's a fine little unit, and I hope you enjoyed the video.